Most best games lists are garbage. Paid hype for stuff that wants your wallet, not your love. Not here. These are 20 PS5 single player games actually worth playing. No pre-order lies, no microtransaction traps. From hidden gems to certified masterpieces, let's get into it. Okay, let's get something out of the way. When Stellar Blade first showed up, everyone wanted to talk about how the main character, Eve, looks. And honestly, that's a little silly because the thing that actually matters here is how the game plays. And it plays great. This is a game about Earth getting completely wrecked by alien monsters called the Natiba, with what's left of humanity hiding out in space. Eve drops down to clean up the mess. The combat, it's all about timing. You don't just mash buttons and hope. You watch the enemy, wait for the attack and parry at the exact right second. Get it right and you feel like a sword swinging genius. Get it wrong and you get smacked across the room. It's tough, but it's the good kind of tough. The kind that makes you sit up straight and pay attention. The world is gloomy and gorgeous. The boss fights are massive and the soundtrack, chef's kiss. Is the story a little confusing sometimes? Sure. Does it borrow ideas from games like Nier and Dark Souls? Absolutely. But it borrows the right ideas and makes them its own. If you want a single player action game that respects your time and your reflexes, Stellar Blade is a no-brainer. Now this one surprised pretty much everybody. Black Myth, Wukong is based on a super old Chinese story called Journey to the West, where a magical monkey goes on a wild adventure. And let me tell you, they did not make a baby version of it. You play as a monkey warrior, swinging a giant staff, smacking demons, giant frogs and bosses so big they barely fit on the screen. The first time you see this game move, your jaw kind of drops. It is gorgeous. The fur, the temples, the misty forests. It looks like a movie you can actually control. And the combat is fast and flashy, with magic spells that let you freeze enemies, turn invisible, or even copy yourself. Here's my honest take though, it can be hard. Some of these bosses will beat you up over and over and over, but sticking it out and finally winning, that feeling is incredible. And the best part, this was the first giant game from China to really blow up worldwide, which is a huge deal. It's not perfect. A few areas feel a little empty, like they forgot to fill them in, but as a single player adventure stuffed with myth and monsters, Wukong absolutely earns its spot here. Don't sleep on the monkey. Imagine waking up over and over on the same creepy alien planet every single time you die. That's Returnal. You play as Selene, a space explorer who crash lands on a planet called Atropos, and she is stuck in a time loop. Every time she dies, boom, right back to the crash site she goes. And the planet has rearranged itself like it's messing with her. This is what people call a roguelike, which is a fancy way of saying when you die, you lose most of your stuff and start over. But you get smarter each time. And wow, is this game intense? Aliens fire glowing purple bullets at you from every direction and you have to dodge, dash and shoot like your life depends on it. Because it does. I won't lie to you. Returnal is hard. And losing an hour of progress in one bad run can really sting. But the controller? The PS5 controller makes the rain feel like it's tapping your fingertips, and every gun feels different in your hands. It's spooky, it's lonely, it's a little bit sad, and the story gets weird in the best way. This is not a game for everyone, but if you want something that grabs your heart and your nerves, Returnal hits different, brave players only. Okay, picture the most beautiful version of old Japan you can imagine, and then make it even prettier. That's Ghost of Yotei. It's set about 300 years after the first game, Ghost of Tsushima, so you do not need to have played that one to jump in. This time you play as Atsu, a tough wandering warrior with one thing on her mind: revenge. When she was a kid, a gang of 6 masked outlaws called the Yotei 6 destroyed her family and left her for dead. Now she's all grown up, she's got a sword and she's got a list. One by one, she's hunting them down. Now, I'll be honest, a revenge story isn't exactly brand new. We've all seen the "someone wronged me, now I'm angry" plot before. But it's the world around Mount Yotei that makes this special. You can ride a horse through fields of wildflowers, soak in a hot spring, paint pictures, pray at shrines. or get pulled into a tense sword fight where one mistake ends it. The combat is sharp and a little scary, in the best way, and it looks absolutely jaw-dropping on PS5. Is it playing things a bit safe? Kind of, but sometimes safe is just another word for really, really good. Yotei is gorgeous, calm, and brutal all at once. Finally, something on this list that's pure joyful fun for all ages. Ratchet and Clank. Rift Apart is the game you hand someone to prove the PS5 is special. The big idea here is dimension hopping. There are these glowing tears in space called rifts, and you can jump through them instantly into a totally different world. No waiting, no loading screen. 1 second you're in a shiny robot city, the next you're in a swampy jungle, and it happens faster than you can blink. The first time it happens, you genuinely go, how? You play as Ratchet, a furry cat-like hero called a Lombax, and his little robot buddy Clank, plus a brand new hero named Rivet, who honestly kind of steals the show. And the weapons, bonkers. There's a gun that turns enemies into little plants. You read that right? Plants, it's colorful, it's silly, it's got heart, and it looks like a Pixar movie you get to control. My only real complaint, it's a touch on the easy side, and it ends sooner than you'd want. But that's mostly because you're having such a good time you don't want it to stop. If you've got a PS5 and you just want to smile, this is the one. Pure popcorn fun, done right. Let me be real with you for a second. Most remakes are lazy. A company takes an old game, makes it shinier, and charges you full price. So when this one was announced, I rolled my eyes so hard. And then I played it, and I had to take it all back. Silent Hill 2 is one of the scariest, saddest games ever made, and this remake actually does it justice. You play as James, a man who gets a letter from his wife asking him to meet her in a foggy little town called Silent Hill. The catch? His wife has been dead for years. Creepy, right? So off he goes into the fog where monsters lurk, radios crackle with static when danger's near, and a terrifying thing with a giant pyramid for a head stalks you. Here's what makes it special, though. It's not just jump scares and gross monsters, it's about guilt and sadness and secrets, and the longer you play, the more your stomach twists. The fog isn't just spooky, it's hiding the truth. Now fair warning, this one is genuinely frightening and pretty heavy, so it's not for the faint of heart. But if you want horror that actually means something, instead of just yelling boo, this is the gold standard. A remake done right? Okay, Final Fantasy fans, please don't yell at me. This one made people argue. For years, Final Fantasy was all about taking turns in battle, picking commands from a menu like you're ordering at a restaurant. Final Fantasy 16 tossed that out the window and went full action. Now you swing, dodge, and unleash your combos in real time, like a superhero. Some old fans hated that. Me? I think it's a blast. You play as Clive, a knight with a tragic past and the power to control fire. And the story is dark. We're talking betrayal, war, and grown-up drama that feels more like a fantasy TV show than a kid's cartoon. But the real reason to play? The icon battles. Icons are gigantic summon monsters. Think building-sized beasts of fire, ice, and lightning. And the game lets you turn into them and fight other giant monsters in battles so huge and ridiculous your jaw will be on the floor. They feel like the best parts of an anime turned into a video game. Is it a little long? Yeah. Does the middle drag a bit with too many go fetch these quests? A little. But those boss fights are some of the most spectacular things on PS5. If you want fantasy with punch, Clive has got you. Robot dinosaurs. I could honestly end the script right there and you'd want to play it. Horizon Forbidden West is set in a future where the world has gone wild and green again, and giant robot animals roam the land. Some look like deer, some look like snakes, and some are giant mechanical T-Rexes that will absolutely ruin your day. You play as Aloy, a fierce hunter with red hair and a bow who's trying to save the dying world from a mysterious force. And the way you fight these robo beasts is so satisfying. You shoot off their armor, expose their weak spots, set traps, and slowly take down monsters way bigger than you. It feels like being a tiny hunter taking on a dragon every single time. The world itself, drop dead gorgeous, sunsets, ruined cities swallowed by jungle, underwater caves. It's one of the prettiest games you can play. Here's my one gripe though. There is a lot to do, like almost too much. Your map fills up with so many icons and side missions, it can feel like a chore list. My advice? Ignore some of it. Just hunt robots, follow the story, and soak in that world. As an adventure, Alloy delivers. Don't let the Dinobots intimidate you. Alright, buckle up because this is the weirdest game on the whole list, and I mean that as a compliment. Death Stranding 2 comes from Hideo Kojima, a game maker famous for making things nobody else would dare to. And the big idea here is delivering packages. No, really. You play as Sam, a delivery guy with a baby strapped to his chest, hiking across huge stretches of Mexico and Australia to bring supplies to people who've been cut off from the world. Sounds boring, right? It absolutely is not. Walking across this broken world is strangely peaceful and tense all at once. You balance your giant backpack so you don't tip over, cross rivers, climb cliffs, and dodge spooky invisible ghosts called BTs. And slowly, you reconnect people who'd given up on each other. There's something weirdly beautiful about that. The story is bonkers in classic Kojima fashion, full of movie star actors, jaw-dropping cutscenes, and twists that'll make you go, wait, what? I'll be honest, this game is not for everyone. If you want constant explosions, look elsewhere. But if you want something calm, strange, and totally unlike anything else, Sam's journey will get under your skin in the best way. Slow, gorgeous, and gloriously bizarre. This game took 13 years to make a sequel for, and somehow it was worth the wait. Alan Wake 2 is a proper horror game, the kind that creeps up your spine slowly instead of just shouting in your face. The hook is wild. Alan Wake is a writer trapped in a dark, nightmare version of reality, and whatever he writes starts coming true. Meanwhile, in the real world, an FBI agent named Saga is investigating spooky murders in a small town surrounded by deep, dark forest. And you get to play as both of them, jumping between their two stories until they start crashing into each other in ways that'll twist your brain. What makes it scary isn't just the monsters, it's the mood. Darkness is your enemy here, so you point your flashlight to burn away the shadows before you can even hear the creepy Taken coming for you. Light versus dark the whole way through. It's also one of the most creative games out there, mixing real-life video clips, music, and a story that plays with your head. Now, it is genuinely frightening and pretty strange, so maybe keep the lights on. But if you're brave enough, this is horror as art. Remedy didn't just make a sequel, they made something unforgettable. This was the very first game a lot of people played on their shiny new PS5. And what a way to start. Demon's Souls is a remake of a really old, really hard game from 2009, rebuilt from the ground up to look absolutely stunning. And let me set your expectations right now. This game wants to beat you up. You explore a cursed gloomy kingdom called Boletaria, full of knights, dragons and nightmares, and the enemies hit like trucks. You will die. A lot. Probably to the very first guy you meet. But here's the magic. Every death teaches you something. You learn the enemy's moves, you try again, you get a little better, and then finally you beat the thing that's been killing you for an hour. And that feeling, there is nothing like it in gaming. It's not hard just to be mean. It's hard so that winning actually means something. And good grief, is it pretty? The armor shines, the monsters are massive, the world feels ancient and sad. Now, I'll be honest, if you get frustrated easily, this game might make you want to throw your controller across the room. It's not for everyone, but if you like a real challenge and a sense of triumph you earn, Demon's Souls is a masterpiece. Patience, brave warrior, you've got this. Be honest. You've always wanted to be Spider-Man. Well, this is the closest you'll ever get. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 lets you swing through a gigantic, gorgeous New York City, and the web swinging feels so good it should be illegal. You launch off buildings, dive between skyscrapers, and pull off flips that would make your stomach drop in real life. And this time, you get two Spider-Men. You switch between Peter Parker, the original, and Miles Morales, the younger hero, each with their own cool powers. Peter even gets the Black Venom suit, which makes him stronger, but also angrier and meaner. The big villains here are Kraven, a hunter who treats the whole city like his playground, and the terrifying Venom. The story's got real heart too. It's about friendship, family, and what happens when good people make bad choices. Now, my one complaint, it's a little on the easy side and it's not super long. You can finish it pretty quickly, but the ride is so much fun you won't even care. Swinging around just to swing around never ever gets old. If you've got a PS5 and even the tiniest love for superheroes, this is an absolute must play. It's a roller coaster you'll want to ride again and again, pure web slinging joy. Here's another remake that had no right to be this good. The original Resident Evil 4 is one of the most beloved scary games ever, so redoing it was a huge risk. Capcom nailed it anyway. You play as Leon, a tough government agent sent to a creepy European village to rescue the president's daughter. Simple enough, right? Except the villagers are not okay. They are infected by something nasty, they shamble toward you with pitchforks and chainsaws, and there are a lot of them. This game is the perfect mix of scary and awesome. One minute you're terrified, low on bullets with monsters closing in, the next you're blasting through a horde feeling like an action hero. It keeps you right on the edge the whole time. The village, the spooky castle, the gross creatures, it all looks incredible and runs buttery smooth, and there are these tense moments where you protect Ashley, the girl you're rescuing. That'll get your heart pounding. Is it terrifying? It can be, but it's more thrilling, fun, scary than nightmare scary, which makes it a great gateway into horror games. My only nitpick, a couple of the dragged out escort bits can test your patience. Still, this is action horror at its absolute finest. Saddle up, Leon, the village awaits. If you've ever wanted to play a game that feels like stepping into a strange, beautiful storybook, this is it. Metaphor, ReFantazio comes from the same brilliant team behind the Persona games, and you can feel that talent in every corner. It's a fantasy adventure where the king has been murdered, the kingdom is in chaos, and there's a wild contest to decide who rules next. And here's the twist. You, a kid from a hated group of people, decide to throw your hat in the ring. The big draw is the battles. This is a turn-based game, which means you and your enemies take turns attacking, but it's way cooler than that sounds. You unlock archetypes, which are like job classes, Knight, Mage, Healer, and tons more, and mixing and matching them to crush tough monsters is endlessly satisfying. It's like building the ultimate team. The art style, unlike anything else, bold, strange, and dripping with personality. And the story actually has something to say about fear, hope, and treating people fairly. Now, fair warning, it's a JRPG, so it's long, and there's a lot of reading and talking. If you want fast action, look elsewhere. But if you want a deep, gorgeous adventure that respects your brain, Metaphor is a gem. One of the best RPGs in years, easy. I saved a big smile for this one, because Astro Bot is pure happiness in video game form. It won Game of the Year in 2024, and the moment you start playing, you'll understand exactly why. It's a jump and run adventure starring a little robot, and your mission is to zip across colorful planets, rescuing your scattered robot friends. That's it. And it is glorious. Every single level is bursting with clever ideas. One minute you're bouncing on sponges, the next you've got a frog suit that lets you punch the ground, then you're surfing or flying or shrinking. The game never runs out of surprises. And the PS5 controller? Astro Bot uses it better than any game on the planet. You'll feel raindrops, footsteps, and little bumps right in your hands like magic. It's also a giant love letter to PlayStation history. You'll spot tons of robot friends dressed up as famous characters from games you might recognize, which is a treat for longtime fans. The best part, there's nothing mean or annoying here. No confusing menus, no microtransactions begging for your money. Just clever, joyful, brilliantly made fun. Honestly, whether you're 7 or 70, you'll grin the whole way through. If you own a PS5 and skip this one, we can't be friends. Play it, trust me. So there's this old game from 1997 called Final Fantasy VII that millions of people considered the greatest of all time. The folks at Square Enix decided to remake it, but in 3 huge parts. Rebirth is part 2, and wow, did they swing for the fences? You follow Cloud, a spiky-haired ex-soldier with a giant sword, and his crew as they chase a silver-haired villain named Sephiroth across a gigantic, gorgeous world. And this time, you are not stuck in a city anymore. You ride giant bird creatures called chocobos across open plains, explore deserts and snowy mountains, and the sense of adventure is huge. The battles are fantastic too. A clever mix of real-time action and pausing to pick magic and special moves. So it feels exciting and smart. But here's the thing nobody warns you about. This game is stuffed with mini-games. Card games, races, piano playing, you name it. Some are a blast, some made me groan out loud. Your mileage will vary, and the story? It hits some serious emotional gut punches that long-time fans have waited decades to see. Fair warning, if you haven't played part 1, you'll be a little lost. But if you're up for a massive, heartfelt, occasionally goofy adventure, Rebirth is something special. Just maybe pace yourself with those minigames. Picture the angriest, strongest dad in all of mythology, and then give him a moody teenage son. That's God of War Ragnarok. You play as Kratos, a bald, bearded warrior who's basically a walking mountain of muscle, and his son Atreus, as they journey through the frozen magical world of Norse legend. And the big event looming over everything, Ragnarok, the end of the world. So no pressure, the combat is brutal in the best way. Kratos has a glowing axe he can throw and call back to his hand like a boomerang, plus fiery chained blades for close-up chaos. Smashing trolls and gods feels absolutely incredible, with a satisfying crunch behind every hit. But here's what makes it more than just a punch fest. It's actually a story about family, about a dad who doesn't know how to talk to his kid, and a kid who wants to grow up too fast. It's surprisingly moving for a game where you fight a giant snake. The worlds are jaw-droppingly beautiful, the boss fights are epic, and the voice acting is top tier. My one gripe, it can be a little chatty. Sometimes you just want to fight, and a character keeps explaining things, but that's a small price. Ragnarok is a blockbuster done right. Bring tissues and your axe. Okay, gather round because I love this one. And it's the perfect example of why you shouldn't only trust the giant expensive games. Clair Obscur. Expedition 33 was made by a tiny French studio called Sandfall. It was their first game ever, and it embarrassed companies 100 times their size. The setup is heartbreaking and brilliant. There's a giant mysterious being called the Paintress, who wakes up once a year and paints a number, and everyone who is that age just turns to smoke and vanishes. This year the number is 33, so a group of brave heroes, Expedition 33, sets out on what's basically a one-way trip to destroy her before she can do it again. The battles take turns like a classic RPG. But, and this is the genius part, you also have to dodge and parry attacks in real time, like an action game. So you're never just sitting there watching, you're on edge every second. The world is strange and dreamlike, and unlike anything else, the music gave me actual chills, and the story made grown adults cry. No silly pre-order nonsense, no microtransactions begging for your wallet, just a passionate team making something beautiful. If you only play one game of this whole list, let it be this one, a modern masterpiece. Buckle up, because this might be the most enormous game on this entire list. Baldur's Gate 3 is based on Dungeons and Dragons, the famous game where you roll dice and go on fantasy adventures with friends. And here's the wild part. You can do almost anything. The story kicks off with a nasty alien creature putting a worm in your brain that might slowly turn you into a monster, so you set off to fix it before time runs out. But how you get there? Totally up to you. You can be a noble hero, a sneaky thief, a charming talker, or a total goofball. Want to befriend someone? Sure. Want to shove them off a cliff instead? You can do that too. The game just lets you. The battles take turns and reward clever thinking, like setting the floor on fire or knocking enemies into pits. And the characters who join your party feel like real people with feelings, friendships, and drama. Now, I have to be honest with you, this game is gigantic with tons of reading, talking, and dice rolls. It can feel overwhelming, and it is not a quick weekend game. It's a 100-hour epic. But if you want a world that truly bends to your choices, nothing else comes close. An all-timer. And here we are, number one of a very different kind, the game that took the whole world by storm. Elden Ring comes from the same masterminds behind Demon's Souls, but this time they did something bold. They made it open world. That means a gigantic land called the Lands Between is yours to explore however you want. On horseback, in any direction, with zero hand holding. No arrows pointing where to go. No one telling you what to do. Just you, your curiosity, and a world absolutely packed with secrets, monsters, and breathtaking sights. And yes, like its older brothers, this game is hard. The bosses are towering nightmares that will crush you again and again, but because the world is so big, here's the trick. If something's too tough, you can just walk away, get stronger somewhere else, and come back to wreck it later. That freedom changes everything. Famous fantasy author George R. Martin even helped build the world's backstory, and you can feel that depth everywhere. The sense of what's over that hill never ever fades. Now, it's still tough, and beginners will struggle at first, but push through, and you'll understand why this won Game of the Year and stole millions of hearts. Elden Ring isn't just a game, it's an adventure you'll never forget. That's the list. Notice what's missing? No half finished cash grabs, no games begging you to pre order a deluxe edition, just 20 single player experiences that actually earned your time. I've watched this industry chase every shiny trend, and these are the ones that survive. Think I got it wrong? Tell me below, like, subscribe, and remember, no hype, no lies. See you next time.